This is Rogers TV.
Pollution and energy expert based here in Ottawa, working in the community for over 20 years, helping people tap in, tune in, and get busy living, get busy being in purpose and passion, and making better decisions based on their intuition and their connection to the heart and the mind. The journey between those two is the longest path, and my job is to help you navigate that with ease and grace. I'm so excited for today's show because in a couple minutes I'm going to have one of my teachers, a colleague and a friend, Pete Bernard, the founder of the 8 Fire School of Shamanism here in Ottawa, on the show. He was on my show many years ago when it was a live show at Rogers Television Studios. Now we're moving into the COVID world of technology and Zoom, but that's the good news. Everyone can participate. So for those of you joining us on Facebook right now, please feel free to participate and listen to our dialogue and discussion. You can participate in the group readings at the end. 10 minutes before the show ends, around 1:50 Eastern Standard Time, we will be doing group oracle card readings for people in groups. So like you're going to pick number 1, it's really easy, number 2 or number 3, and then I do a group card reading for that particular group. So just pick whatever number resonates. For those of you who are joining us via Zoom, this is where the fun's happening, the magic is happening. We've got a list of people so far, and hopefully we will be able to get your questions answered by myself and Pete today on the show. A mixture of card readings and of course my Gen Zen, and of course the grand wisdom teachings of our guest Pete Bernard. So September's energies, oh my gosh. It's my birthday month, so it's always a fun month, but back to school in a COVID world, spiking up people's concerns around group health and safety, people sort of reevaluating things. The 9 of the month is a numerological release and renew number, endings and beginnings. Of course, we have the super moon coming up on Thursday. It's, I believe, a moon. I want to say it's in Libra, but I don't quote me on that. I have to double check my notes. But certainly a supermoon is all about sort of amplification of power and energy. It is helping us make better choices. It's all about justice and balance. It is helping us move forward with more equality, which again, no coincidence that the US elections are around the corner. People's rights are being affected by the health scares and the concerns. And I know the economic situation still being affected by the COVID situation. So in all that, when all there's chaos and challenge in the world, you still have the power and control of yourself and your mind and your heart and your focus and attention to place yourself in a state of grace, gratitude, a state of neutrality, or what people in the healing world call 0 point. Really cool about 0 point, it's neutral point. It's a point where everything can happen and all the magic can sort of pivot into a more resourceful state. Good news for us is September's equinox, which is my birthday this year. Tuesday, September 22nd is the fall equinox in Libra. It is giving us an opportunity to go into 0 point, to go into that deep healing experience where we can sort of release sort of ancestral programmings and imprints, really reclaim our life purpose and our personal power, despite what's happening in the outside world, in our society systems, and whatever else is happening in the world. So that's the good news about September, but many of us are feeling meh, up, down. I spent the morning crying. I watched a movie, it triggered me on something, and then off I went. And again, it's using your toolkits. It's recognizing that, yeah, stuff like that's going to happen this month, and we need to remain grounded. We need to remain centered. Again, really paying attention to where our focus is. The law of attraction says that if you hold a thought for 17 seconds, it activates. And if you hold it for 68 seconds, it actually starts to work. So where are you placing your attention and intention this month? Super important. I'm actually offering 2 ceremonies, experiences for people for my community because of that. So this Thursday, I have my regular monthly meditation night on Zoom for people interested in tapping into the supermoon's power, uplifting and hope and bringing their dreams to a reality. And then on the fall equinox, I'm going to be doing a ceremony taking people into 0 point, really anchoring in the Milky Way galaxy and all that wonderful blessings of the opportunities of the deep healing. So I look forward to seeing those of you who are interested in doing some deep transformational work with me this month. Otherwise, stay tuned with our chat right now with my guest, Pete Bernard. So I'm just going to take a minute to invite him on. Again, apologies for I'm so not quite yet used to the awkwardness of Zoom, because when you're on live television, it's always fun. But here we go. So Pete Bernard is an Algonquin healer from the Golden Lake community. He is a well-known medicine man and a founder of the 8 Fire School of Shamanism here in Ottawa. I'm actually a graduate myself, so proud to say Pete was one of my pivotal teachers and advocates and mentors, and I call him friend. And today he's my guest. So welcome to the show, Pete.
Thanks for having me, Jen.
Yeah, so we ran into each other by chance eating fries in Golden Lake. So how cool was that?
Yeah, synchronicity.
So I was there visiting friends, just getting out of Dodge Peak, just getting to the water, getting to the boats in Beachburg. My girlfriend brought us into the reserve to do some shopping. And we're sitting at that lovely, I don't know what that place is called.
The Cottage Cup.
The Cottage. Of course, it felt like summer, big trucks and boats and all cool things going by us. And then a voice in my head says, turn around now. And I turn around now and I see you walking the other way with a bag towards your car. And I'm yelling at you going, Pete, Pete. And there was a big truck unloading that day. There was all these kind of traffic on that corner, super busy. I'm like, that's gotta be Pete. There's only one guy like that in Golden Lake. And so I'm running after you and there you were. And it was so cool because I actually hadn't seen you in a bit. And you were sort of recharging up in nature by your parents' place, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
So tell us about how important that is right now, given that, there's a lot of, I know you don't super believe in astrology, but it's very akin to the energy waves that you talk about and post about that affect people. We're all part of one big organism, right? And things as they shift, we shift. I pulled this card actually as a symbol today, and it's part of the Sacred Rebel. It says, seeing the true you, but she's looking at water. Mm-hmm. And for me, water has been like a must. I have to be in water, around water, and I pretty much hit every beach this summer that I could drive to. So tell us why nature right now is so important to ground the energies. What is happening? You've posted yourself on your feed, Pete Bernard on Facebook. You've shared some really neat stuff about the next, you said it was 13 days ago, 13-day cycle coming up. Tell us what's going on and why we need to get outside.
I think the premise that we're in now is that we feel so disconnected. Like we can't physically touch each other. We have to be 6 feet apart. I think when things started, it was stressful for people. The first 30 days was a breaking in. And then there came a point where there's a breaking point and people were just, they had nothing left.
Yeah.
They were not interested in social distancing. They were not interested in, they were just worn out.
Mm-hmm.
And I think because of that depletion, people generally need to reconnect to nature. That's the only thing that can really recharge you in that way.
Right. Yeah. And water particularly. So why water for you? Because I know you work with water a lot.
Water is, it's a female element. So it's very nurturing in that particular way, but it's also an intuitive element as well. So when you're trying to get information, it amplifies.
Nice.
It amplifies psychic ability, intuitive ability. And there's also the same stillness, because we have water in us. We kind of really relate to that element.
Yeah, I felt it was like a rebirthing. I just needed support by something because, again, I've been greatly affected by COVID, and it's just destabilized so much. And I need to espouse this feeling of staying grounded, staying sane, staying hopeful. So tell us about what are the energies you do these lovely cryptic messages that we all love to follow, by the way, and you do it on purpose. So it's like, I always want to go, okay, dude, what are you talking about? 13 days. You talk about 13 days of really powerful. If you're trying to cross a threshold or open a door and you're sort of seesawing, you're hemming and hawing about a decision, you're going to be thrown in no matter what. So tell us what that meant in layman's terms. Sort of dumb it down for me.
Sure. On September 5th, a 13-day period began where we were going to be into, you might say, an energetic upswing.
Okay.
Now, even in this upswing, it's not a steady, straight, nice mental ascension. We're still spiraling up. So what it is a response to the same way that we have solar flares in our universe, in our galaxy, we have gravitational bursts as well.
Okay.
And these gravitational bursts occur, let's just say, when things are passing through our solar system.
Okay.
Or when things are passing through near our planet or entering our planet's atmosphere. And what happens is, as they change the gravitational forces on the planet, we very strongly react, as all life really does.
Right.
So one of the reasons why astrology works is the position of the planets.
Mm-hmm.
So the position of the planets are all fixed. And we have these gravitational forces that are pushing down on us. And that's what makes it accurate. That's why they ask you when they're doing your numerology or your chart, where were you born and when, what time?
Right, right.
So based on that, they get very accurate information. But as there's any gravitational change within our solar system that is significant, it will throw everything into an upheaval.
Right. But you suggested the upheaval in this case. Well, you're always spinning it positive. So let me just say that. You're never doom and gloom. But you talk straight like I do. You suggested that, talk about the door, the opportunity, because again, the equinox is the threshold into 0 point, we're in the Milky Way, things are moving and you're going to come. Like, do people have a choice anymore or they don't have a choice?
I think people can hold out as long as they can, but the environment is not getting any friendlier around them. So
yes, right. So the more you resist, I like it, because I've seen that in some of my friends and clients. The more they resist what they need to do, the more the bang gets bigger, right? The kaboom
Correct.
gets blah. And then when it really does sort of blow up in their face, it's bad, right? Or the perception of bad, right or wrong, good or bad.
Yeah, it's going either to hold out as long as you can and then powder keg, which seems to be happening to a lot of people.
Okay.
So it's either people are being taken into a lot of fear and they're being taken into a lot of anger right now. Now, if we go into the next, let's say, ascension level, after this, the next level above is going to be into their hurt.
Oh, okay.
Because the anger and the fear are still reactions to something.
Yes, right. And so this is happening to people. So again, it's hard for me to ask you because I have my own personal questions I would love to ask. But I'm trying to read the general population. So you think you've done something, let's say, you think you've worked something out or on, and you and I know, we've talked years about this. And I've known Pete for many years, like almost 15 years ago, at least. It's coming back. Like I had someone from my past call me yesterday on a significant date. And I was like, no, we're done. Like, this situation's over.
No rewind.
And yet, oh my God, there it was. I'm like, okay, I'm back, right? So what does that mean? I mean, really, I mean that I'm asking for myself, and I know many of your graduates are online right now. And thank you, by the way, for all the students of the 8th Fire who are here. What does that mean to you?
No, there's like that premise of that we are in one great year in terms of a time period of 30,000 plus years. We are in a cycle. Now, there are also micro versions of that, where we have smaller cycles like a fractal that make up a larger item.
Okay.
We have smaller loops of time.
Right.
So some people are becoming more aware of their patterns. So it's almost like to the day. I had a client last week, and it was to the day, like 9 years ago, her mother was diagnosed with breast cancer, and 9 years to the day she was.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And so the premise is it's more than coincidence here. There's time loops as time begins to distort, and gravity is one of those things that can distort time.
Right. And so because of this event that's happened in the outer, we're being spun in a certain way that's, but the invitation is always positive, right? So I believe the universe is always here to help us, right? Serving us to grow and evolve in some way. So when you told that, like when the client sort of discovered that, how would you reframe her?
I would reframe her that just because there's a potential manifestation of something, everything at the base level, if you believe in life after death, or if you believe in science that energy can't be created, can't be destroyed, it can change form, everything that we believe to be physical emanated from something non-physical.
Right.
So that's the work also of Dr. Bruce Lipton, and proving kind of that, there's all of those things. So that's when we re-empower people by say, we're going to get out of the physical body now.
Right. Yes.
And we've got to get into what's this really about. And there's a broad body of work that we all do, yourself included, where that's our work with people. It's like thoughts become things.
Yeah. Right. And again, when I work with the mystery school stuff, which is, I have 2 trainings, yours and other, they're telling us right now, spirit, God, goddess in all forms is helping us. They're literally throwing people on the bus or on the lifeboats, literally like you're watching some of one of those movies. And you just have to kind of put up your hand right now. And I don't mean to make it trite and that simple, but for some people, it's really hard to ask for help. It's really hard to say yes to love. It's really hard to say yes to truth. So I've been talking about, this seeing the truth, right? About heart and head, the distance between the two being the shortest and longest distance. What can you offer for people who are really in their head about a lot of things? I'm a victim, that's bad, I am cursed, bad things always happen to me. Because there are things now in the world that don't look so great, right? Like there's tangible things that you could say, that's a thing, but we're putting energy and focus on it and making it a bigger thing, right? So how do you help them shift from their negative mindset into their heart and their intuition so that at least there's more of a connection and alignment?
Everything going on with people is a result of what they believe. And their beliefs are almost all formed from history.
Right.
So the premise is that past performance predicts future behavior. So their beliefs and their predictive algorithms for the future, as you were saying, 17 seconds for the law of attraction, and but people can hold a negative outcome much longer than 67 seconds.
Years. Yeah, for sure. Oh yeah, no, I'm one of the most negative, positive people you'll ever meet. And people who know me, like you and my friend Pam, who really are my people, I have to get something, but I'm fighting and kicking you guys. I'm dragging down the teacher and throwing you on the mat saying, explain this. She's dead. He's not here. This is happening. This feels really real. Don't tell me it's not real. And that's still, I'll be honest with you, my kind of beef with the law of attraction is we're supposed to, not supposed to, our invitation is to take back our power, is to reframe the situation. What is right about the situation? Look for the healing, look for the evolution. But I got to tell you, your story is worse than mine. You've shared many, powerful things as a youth that you've had to go through. It's hard when there's a bruise on your face. It's hard when there's a gap in your life, right? There's someone not there. So how do you help people shift into that no time, going into, no, this didn't happen? I'll never forget the story, if you could tell about your grandfather, the guy with the heart attack, blowing the heart attack out of him and saying it really didn't happen. Do you know what I mean? Do you remember that story? He was hunting with the dude. Does this ring a bell at all? He blew the heart attack out of his fellow hunter friend. I've known you a long time, so this is anyway. You told a story where it was, I'm pretty sure it was your grandpa, not your dad. And Pete's grandfather is a well-known Algonquin healer in his history, the history of the Golden Lake Reserve. He was hunting. His friend was having a heart attack, and he energetically changed it through breath work, removing the block and having the gentleman's mindset shift, like out of fear into something more, I'm okay, it's going to be okay. And it was okay. Do you understand? Instead of like raising the roof and hitting the panic button. I mean, they were out in the bush, so they really didn't have a choice. So he had to do something. Yeah,
the premise is that when something happens to a person, depending on, who you are, who you have around you, is that you're able to blow that consciousness out of a person.
Right.
And literally, the reason why we have things that happen to us is because we have a consciousness of it.
Right.
So you blow the consciousness out, then you've got to replace it with something. So you bring them down to like an earthing element.
Right.
And you literally bring life back into them. So it's like an energetic transfusion or energetic, the paddles, the defibrillator.
Right. Well, it's taking something negative and making it positive with alchemy. And again, back then, your grandpa had the medicine teachings. He was out in nature, so he had all that support around him. Having said that, it would be considered a miracle, though, if someone was watching this and witnessing, that to the science doesn't make sense. But it does when you know quantum physics.
Correct. And what's interesting is that when you and I have worked on animals,
yes,
we've both performed for what people would, or, what some people would consider a miracle on a dog who has no judgment.
Right.
The dog is just like, yeah, this is normal.
Yes.
The results are pretty miraculous right away.
Yeah.
And it's just interesting because when we humanize like animals, we bring our consciousness into them, which means our limitations a lot of the time.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. I didn't realize that. I mean, I knew, of course, the pets and the people affect each other for sure. And I know when pets get sick, usually they're ready to go. Their owner is ready for a change. Like there's a transition that the owner is going through, that the pet is saying, I can go now. You're ready to be with him, her, that, this way, that way. That I know, but interesting. That's good for me to remember.
Yeah, and I think in the time that we're in, so many people are, your analogy of the bus and people that are holding out, the ones that are the most difficult, they're the last ones that get thrown onto the bus.
Yeah.
But by that point, they're at a breaking point anyway, because there's nowhere left to hold out to.
Yeah, and there's no more snacks on the bus, right? We've already passed out the juice boxes, and so like, get on the bus now. But again, it's again, I'm a typical client, and again, from people who help me, bless you all, because I'm a real stubborn Nelly when I need to be. But I shift fast. That's the blessings of what you've taught me over the years, which I always thank you for. What's the one thing someone could do to shift out of a negative? You and I, and let me just speak to this, and don't take this the wrong way, because I've had a difficulty in articulating it. We're old school trained, where there's a shadow wound. We go into the wound, we love it, we heal it, we transform it. Beautiful. Don't get me wrong, we got miracles out of that. The new frequency, which is really sort of espoused by a lot of millennial types, also the Matt Kahn type, saying, forget the wound. You've never been the wound. You're light, you're love. You've always been light and love. Stop focusing so much on that. Start focusing, which is law of attraction stuff, on where you want to go. Where's the balance? I've always espoused a balance of, doing both, because again, I think it's hard for me to change all my 20 years of training just to focus on the positive. I like to do both and get results. Where are you at now with that? Because you're always cutting edge, you're always ahead of the curve anyway, but you've also been trained by the elders and, the really sort of the science of your community.
Yeah, I would say the old school tradition, the premise is that a person's trajectory is based largely on their history and their past.
Okay.
So if you switch from that going to something that is seemingly more positive, that generally in and of itself is not bad.
Okay.
But it can also create two stories that coexist.
Right.
There's the one story of the wound that is not yet healed.
Okay.
And the question is it going to begin to integrate into the new code?
Right. So, and we call that spiritual escapism, and a lot of psychologists are saying, well, you're just denying or escaping something, or spiritual bypassing, I should say.
Yeah.
Escape was in my head, it's bypassing. So how do you dance between what is maybe a legitimate spiritual bypassing with the evolutionary thought of law of attraction, focus on what you want, because we are in quantum movement, we are in change mode this fast?
I think, is that, people like you and I, we see ourselves as a bridge between two different things. And the bridge has more value, I think, sometimes in the things that are crossing back and forth between them.
Okay. Yes.
Because as a conduit, it allows for the exchange of information. So it doesn't take a long time to heal one's past, and then and you can build momentum from there, come across the bridge into that new code, into that new future, into that new positivity, because it's authentic, because the cells of our body remember when something has not healed.
Right. Okay.
So what they're saying is, okay, Jen, it's really great that you've got all these ideas, but this hasn't been healed over here.
Right.
And I remember what happened, and I know how this ends. So from the past, it's making a predictive future, which means it is interfering with the trajectory of what we're trying to actually manifest.
Right. And so now I've been all about 0 point all month. One, it's my birthday month, as you know, the equinox, the supermoon. I just take advantage of all of it. All the teachings you've given me, we're going, right? What is 0 point? How can people get there on their own if they don't want assistance, or what is the alchemy about that? Like, why does it work so well?
0 point works really well because what it does is it requalifies anything that actually touches it. So at the moment something comes to 0 point, you can have a lot of negativity, but then there comes a moment where you just, for lack of a better word, it hits something. It comes into contact with it, and it is immediately changed. It's not even a process. It's like it goes from whatever it was to something completely different, and the healing happens faster than we can understand it.
Right. Yeah. And do you feel that? So again, both of my teachings, like Heaven and Earth, have said the period right now we're in is super fast. Really watch what you're thinking, really do the work, whatever the work is, whether it's just refocusing, gardening, going to the beach, chanting, meditating, praying, whatever, but doing something joy-filled in a positive, again, when I say, if you're going to fall forward, at least you're going in the right direction. What do you say about that? Because I just feel like super fast, like we're on Mach speed now.
Yeah, we are definitely on an accelerated program, whether or not we want to be. So what's accelerating is, for a lot of people, their negative thoughts are accelerating. Right. Their negative emotions are accelerating. And then we've got, a growing number of unicorns who are learning how to manifest in this time. Maybe they're starting off rare, but I think people are realizing it's the speed at which we're surfing. Right. Well, you and I are unicorns, though. We're just rainbow ones. That's right.
But I mean that legitimately, like, I'm kind of tired. Again, COVID affected me. I don't want anything to affect me. I am beyond that. Yet I am, like, really tangibly, here I am. So it's been hard for me to shift out of basic stuff like survival, security, safety, right? Like the basics. And what's frustrating is someone like me who's down the rabbit hole really deep and actually charted some unknown tunnels for a lot of people. I'm still talking about the same darn topics. So where would you put someone? Well, where would you put me and your students and the people who follow you on Facebook as a starting point to shift?
The starting point is that it's all brought us to a place where we need to be, but not a place where we want to be.
Right.
So I've been taking actions throughout COVID that I would never have taken in my life, in terms of major patterns I've had to resolve through action, not through healing this time.
Right. Okay.
So I've been growing out of just the non-physical, and it's like, you now have to do this. You actually have to literally end this pattern for you, for your family. You've now literally got to, deal with it. So I think it's bringing us to that point of the step that we thought was the furthest. There's another step after that, and that's where we're all being pushed to.
Right. Don't tell me that, 'cause I'm tired.
I'm tired too.
Let me just get there, Pete. I'll just crawl in, and then you can go, oh, by the way, there's a few more up there.
Yeah, there's this saying, and it says the work begins when you're tired.
Yes. So there you go. And so the work begins.
Because at that point, you're talking about people resisting trying all of this change in this thing. You can do that when you have strength. You can resist.
Right. Well, that's why we make people tired in our programs, right? You and I specifically make people lose their on us, so they break, and then the kaboom happens. So then, there you are. There's the gold. There's the diamond. There's the, so it's very common in coaching worlds, in the Anthony Robbins world, the NLP. Run them ragged for 1,000,000 hours, right? Keep them. You've done the same programs I have. Yeah. Run them ragged, let them barf their car, and let's just go now. Here we go. And the miracle does actually happen. So it is kind of true. A lot of people believe we can do that, though, through ease and grace. So what do you think about that?
It's possible for definitely. It depends on a person's constitution. If they are really, yang in their life, getting to a point of ease and grace is not easy for them. So if they're able to start relinquishing control and get there, it can absolutely happen. Right. But for people who are light and fluffy, generally they have to make a course correction.
Right.
They do have to warrior up. They have to figure out, like me, the actions that they need to take, not just the piece that they're trying to create or embody. Always involves action still at some point.
Now, you and I have had long discussions. You've spoken about this in your classes. What say you to the divine intervention concept? At one point you had said, we're on our own, kids. This is a free will planet, free will universe. They're not coming. No one's coming to rescue you. And that was your, you really help people become resourceful and self-sufficient, which is great. But now I'm feeling, and I just ask your opinion on this, that the divine is coming back online. Like they're like, okay, you guys are really just, what are you doing here? Like, it's almost like putting a kid back on a bike and giving them the push that they need to get going. Do you feel that's back online, or has that always been online and just on pause?
I think it was always been online, maybe on pause. And I think there was a lot of kind of new thought kind of coming out in terms of spirituality and manifesting, and kind of, for lack of a better word, where human consciousness went for a little while.
Yeah.
And I think when some of those things didn't work, people just hit the play button again, and we're trying to kind of hear what Spirit's always been saying. So I think that.
So what say you to, and again, if this is a topic you don't want to go, and I respect that, because you have your, things that you can't always share with others. Where are we going? Like at one point when I, was really following you intimately, well, I'm not so sure it looks so good. I'm not so sure. And then there was a big sort of burst of hope in 2018. And then 1920, yeah, kind of like, oops, we might have missed this, or not. Where are we at now cosmologically as a society, as an evolutionary state?
We are at the beginning of a free fall.
Okay.
So I think a part of us, we have, as a species, we've ascended to a certain degree. Mm-hmm. And we're in that point now where we're hanging. So the gravitational mass, once again, we're leveled off. We're getting ready to take a drop.
Right. And the drop doesn't necessarily have to be bad, correct? Like it could be planned, or it could be.
Yeah, it can be planned. It can be grounding, depending on how you're going to look at it.
Right.
But what's interesting is, like, for people living in certain geographic areas right now, I mean, there are wildfires that are burning throughout.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They've got that to deal with. They've got COVID. There comes a point where, when we are being broken down to a more basic level, like to a more common denominator, I think it's going to make us obviously more resilient, but it's also in terms of, where is it trying to move us to? What is it preparing us for?
Right, right. There's a really good movie I just saw, and I want to recommend it to everybody. Just made me think about it. Captain Fantastic. It's on Netflix right now with Viggo Mortensen from Lord of the Rings. And he's raised his family off the grid in, like, let's say Oregon, and then a tragedy has to bring him back into the world. And his end result is a hybrid between, like, contact with society, but still sort of hobby farm off the grid. It's a little bit of both. And I see COVID making people go extreme. Mm-hmm. And I've always espoused the middle path. Like, not that I'm Buddha, but certainly there's a balance between different elements, because not everyone can go live off the grid. Not everyone has the skill sets, the adaptability. Some people can and some people can't. But there's a lot of things you can do. And I think that's in life in general. So where do you think, can you speak to that at all? Like people thinking they can run away from COVID, like we're going to the hills, like, which, don't get me wrong, there's probably lower cases in smaller communities, which has been proven in New Zealand and, places like that. But do you think, is that a solution?
No, absolutely not. I mean, we can run as far as we want to. We can try to disconnect, but even in the more remote areas now, I just saw on the news the other day that they're starting to get cases popping up into areas that were otherwise, pretty safe or pretty well isolated.
Right.
So it's just the polarization that takes place, and it's always the emotions that are really causing people to make these decisions.
Right. Now, let's speak to this once and that's it, because I'm sure you, like me, have been asked this a million times. You got the conspiracy theorist friends of mine, and I'm in the rabbit hole. So if people knew where I was, they would be laughing, because we started the freaking club here in the community. We just live in the middle, though. Like, we know this, and yet we're still here. I still have to pay my bills. I still have to feed my kid. Yeah, that's happening. Q, X, Y, Z, Trump, Biden, aliens, this, that, whatever. Great, beautiful. I'm here. Like, until there's something in front of me that says, so how do you help people who really know there's a truth that's happening, a revolution, maskers, anti-maskers, vaccine, no vaccine, then the people seeing people are dying, there is stats that are correct, that people are, affected. And the virus is still an energy, right? The virus is still a thing that can be changed. So how do you help people balance that? And I'm not asking you for personal opinion, just more like, according to whatever their heart says, whatever their wisdom says, because we can't tell everyone what to think or do or be. But at the same point, there's a balanced approach to everything, no matter what it is. What do you say to that?
Yeah, I always try to tell people you should make the decisions that you feel are best for you. But even in our spiritual community, you've seen it as well as I have, people shame each other on both sides of the aisle.
Right.
You get shamed for wearing a mask. Well, that's not spiritual to shame somebody.
Right.
And then, there's people who are not wearing masks. Other people want to shame them. Well, according to spiritual doctrine, we can't shame them either.
Right.
So we are okay with people having their opinions, but maybe they shouldn't be providing them as factual advice.
Right.
So I've told people, like, my middle ground is I've got students who are nurses who, graduated the program. And, I always do this on a premise of respect. They respected me when I was teaching them.
Uh-huh.
And there was also this respect. And if they're telling me this is what they're seeing on day to day or what their colleagues are seeing, I don't disagree with that.
Right.
But there's just so much polarization, and you can share information, but I think both sides are trying to sway support. Like, half of the people are angry because they feel like this isn't real, and the other half are extremely angry because they feel it was planned.
Right.
There's the middle ground between those two things.
There's a lot of our colleagues and our friends that are saying on their Facebook feeds, if you don't believe in what I say, get off my feed. And I have happily said, unfriend, unfriend, unfriend. And these are friends of mine. Mm-hmm. But to me, if you're making it that much of an issue on Facebook, I'm out. Like, I don't need that, because that's going to contaminate my field and my ability to make better decisions for me, right? You got to read. I just think you read a lot of things and you integrate it. But let's get to how you shift the mindset, because again, to me, the biggest beefs, again, because I'm in marketing and communications, when people say stay safe, it drives me bonkers. When I see the big signs on the highway, stay safe, I yell at the sign, I am you, like, I already am safe. Mm-hmm. Like, why are we putting fear out there? Be healthy, stay healthy, put that on a sign. Mm-hmm. Let's bless people. Why are we making everyone afraid? And the kids, I refuse to let my son grow up in that. I want him to be aware and safe, but not afraid. So you have kids, you have the same mindset. How do you help people shift that? Like, the language is everywhere now. There's a marketing campaign. They're doing it from what they know to be true and good and responsible. I bless that. I think the language could be tweaked. I think the communication can be tweaked. I think a lot of things could have happened a little differently, but I'm not judging, because it's a global problem that no one's ever had before. So what say you about that?
I'm exactly with you. As someone who's trained in hypnosis, if you tell someone to stay safe, you've implied they're not safe.
Exactly.
So the non-conscious can't process a negative. So you're implying stay safe, and it's supposed to be in the context of COVID-19.
Right.
But you're going to interpret it throughout your entire life. Like, where am I not safe? Mm-hmm. Like, what do I have to do to feel safe? And that's where politics and power and money kind of collide. Like, who do we have to vote in to feel safe or be safe?
Right.
What do we have to spend in order to feel safe or be safe? So I've been with my daughters, we've been reframing kind of.
And what are you telling them, if you don't mind me asking as a parent?
Just tell them that there is like a virus going around, not really that much different than a flu.
Right.
But it's not really as big a deal as what people are saying.
Right.
And even the mortality rates would basically confirm that. So we just try to be reasonable, because when you have an abundance of fear, your immune system just gets shot.
Right. No. Yeah. And again, my son's back at school, so he's seeing his teachers with the shields and the masks, and they look like little alien. Like, it's like we're going back into Area 54 or something. And bless them, they have to. I mean, I get it, liability wise, responsibility wise. I get it. But at the same point, I'm like, wow, how do I help my son feel safe no matter what? Right? Like, that's the point of what I'm born to do, is no matter what the outside is. And again, our grandparents went to the wars. Our great grandparents were in the big wars. Like, we've lived other things. And I don't know how Anne Frank would have been taught to be safe in her closet, or, in her closet, in the, wherever she hid, or the Viktor Frankl's in the cell, and because he took his mind to another state. And that's why he wrote those beautiful proses in prison. So how do we help people, or how do you help people take their power back while living in a communal society where there are rules, there are laws? Sometimes you just got to do what you got to do.
I think it comes back to that premise of, us being a bridge, is that it's so polarized on both sides that neither of them can be true.
Right.
That's what I love about it. It's like, really, do you really think that the worst case scenario for everything you've ever thought is going to manifest itself in this? So for COVID, for people who were already afraid, it made them more afraid.
Right.
But there's no middle ground to their fear and their emotions that are coming up. And for the people who, don't really believe in it, they went further out to try to kind of, we're just going to continue our lives living normally, and maybe that also wasn't the middle ground approach.
Right.
Because we have to interact with both sides, and only a bridge can do that. The bridge is the place where both sides are going to meet and say, look, like if I'm out, if people want me to wear a mask, I'll wear a mask. Yeah. It's not a big deal. Like I would deliver the hand sanitizer to the manor on the reserve. Yeah. I had a mask on when I delivered it, when I dropped it off, and that's cool. So if, people want me to wear a mask, it doesn't bother me, either way. But if I'm just out by myself walking, I take it off, and I don't worry about all of the things that could potentially go wrong, because that's just going to affect your immune system. And for all of us, your immune system is your currency.
Right. So, because I so that's the point that annoys me as someone who knows about the energy mechanics is the more fear you're putting in me, the more fears in my body, and the more I'm going to actually attract or manifest a disease of some kind, whether it's COVID or whatever it is. Right.
And for those people who don't believe you and I when we say that, the effect on the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system is that when, you are in a lot of stress or in a lot of fear, your immune system literally does shut down. And so when you're having those negative thoughts, those negative feelings, you're actually taking your own immune system offline. So if you could be reasonable saying, okay, what is really going to affect me right now? Like I'm on a 19-acre farm right now. So am I going to go up to the middle of the farm being worried if, birds are going to fly near me? Are they going to give me COVID?
Right. Be worried about ticks.
Yeah, exactly. I need to get some ducks or something out here.
Yeah. Well, if you get the garlic spray mosquito barrier from Darpan at Manotick, that actually gets rid of a lot of that kind of stuff. But that's the point is, I just wanted you, because you get the same leader questions, the public opinion, which we always have to be careful of, you and I, because we represent like a public, but we also have personal opinions and personal ways of living and being that may not always, I can't say always what I want to, because everyone's different and there's rules and everyone has different situations. Because you get the people that in the 1% that are affected by COVID really angry at the rest of people who are not wearing masks. And I'm like, well, your mask protects me, not you. So don't worry about it. Like, I'm good, take care of you. But again, that language does get me in trouble publicly, which I'm sure I'll get some feedback about what I just said now, but that's okay too, because we're having a dialogue, and blessings to everyone. I just wanted to show this card that I picked about your bridge. It's time for healing and releasing with the light. So speaking of which, we're going to now jump to, we had some lovely people waiting for us online. Let me see, we've got a whole lot of people online now, but let me see if I can find Miss Norma to see if she wants to ask either of us a question. And we may forego the group readings today just because we're having such a fun chat. And like we did in the Rogers TV show back in the day, love to have you come back, Pete, and do this sort of on a quarterly whatever basis.
Yeah, I'd love to.
Yeah, you and I love to chat. So Miss Norma, you're on the show. Welcome to Gen Zen on Rogers. You just need to unmic, Norma, if you want to talk, because I can't hear you without your mic on. There you go, Norma. Welcome to the show. Do you have a question for me or Pete, or both?
No, I don't have any questions.
Okay.
I really enjoyed it, though. Said I really enjoyed it. I'm on the same page.
Okay, same page. Well, speaking of the same page, let me just do a quick reading then. So there is Releasing Allegiances card in the Sacred Rebel deck that comes up for you. So it's about body, it's about boundaries, It's unshackling yourself. It's about getting naked, getting raw, getting real, sensuality, sexuality, release. I get a lot of Kali energy off this card for you. So Kali is one of the goddesses in the Hindu culture. Do you know anything about Kali?
Yes.
Yes. So I work with her a lot. Pete actually extracted her once out of my body. So I know Kali really well, but it's Kali energy that's coming into you. So I would actually go to Jyotish Astrology for you, Norma, plug in your date of birth into an app. There's a lot of them that are free, and you might get a lot of really cool information about September's energies. And it's a bee. There's bees all around her. So getting busy with that. So I would research bee medicine.
Excellent. Thank you. My birthday is in
Thanks
September
for
too,
joining.
so I like it.
Yeah. And we're just going to jump to Ronald. You know, your friend Ronald, Pete, is going to be up next. If I can grab him. Sorry, it's laborious with, I miss my texts in
Exactly,
Rogers.
right?
What's that?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I miss like just being able to talk to you and not have to worry about this. I'm like, oh, I'm doing this and this. Great. Ronald, welcome to the show, brother. How are you? And you got to unmute. You're still muted. Can you? Here we go, Ronald. Welcome to the show. Hi, Ronald.
Hi, Ron. Turn your volume up.
Yeah, your mic is on, but we can't hear you. So, okay. So, oh, Ronald, there you are. Hi, Ronald.
Hi.
Do you have a question for your good friend Pete?
No, I didn't. I wrote you to say I didn't.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said you did. See, I'm
I'll take a
I'm
read.
not listening to you, Ronald. So I'm going to grab a card for you. It's the Sacred Rebel deck. It's Diligence. It's I don't know what kind of bird this is. It's an Australian bird. It's something about flying, travel, soaring, journeying, that kind of thing. So are you doing any of that work with your eighth fire work?
Yep.
Yeah, so I'm going to give you a screenshot of that on Facebook. I want you to meditate on this because it's something about a journey. And I believe it's a guided journey, not a like, get on a plane and go journey.
Okay, got that.
All right, well, thanks for joining us. So
Thank
let me
you.
try and find someone.
Really enjoyed the talk.
Yes, thank you. Let me try and find someone who's actually got a question. Come on, all these people listening. You gotta. Let's try Deborah. I'm trying to be kind and go in my order. Hey, Deborah, welcome to the show. You just have to unmic Deborah if you want. There you go. Welcome to the show. Your mic is on. How can we help? Hey, Deborah. Okay. Again, I'll just do a quick card reading for her. I don't know. The functionality may be on their end.
Turn your volume up, Deborah, if you haven't already.
Oh, is that the it, Pete? Yeah.
It might be it,
Try
yeah.
volume up. It says travel lately, Deborah. The card you're getting is simplify your life. Again, this is the Fool in the tarot card deck. It's 0. It's the person starting the journey with a light load, a light pack. What I would invite you to do is research the Fool card in the Major Arcana in tarot. But this card's very positive. The journey is their musician with them. It's the fall leaves. And my sense is fall equinox is going to be a really important time of an energetic shift for you, Deborah. So I'm not sure, oh, well, you know what? I think maybe Deborah's mic is not working. I think this is the same Deborah that I worked with before. If that is the case, my dear, I'm so sorry. I got a lot of people come up. So maybe that's the reason why we're not talking to Deborah. Okay, I'm going to go to someone who I know has a question. Christine, welcome to the show.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we got a live one. Woohoo! Welcome to the show, Christine. Do you have a question for me or Pete?
Okay, well, I don't know why, but the month of September seems to be a time of me getting injured for some reason.
Oh, okay.
I fell flat on my face in the dark.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
cardboard. and I felt like what saved my head was the recycling bin.
So funny enough, you say that, if I can interject, funny enough, you're injured, and I'm telling you, you're protected by angels. And the feeling is, despite the destabilization, the imbalance, the rebalancing, the recalibration you're experiencing, you're actually being protected during this time of wobbly woo, almost like a child learning to walk again. So despite what you're seeing as the evidence of, why do I keep stubbing my toes, twisting my ankle, breaking my lila? Yes, let's get grounded, let's get balanced, breathe, but know that despite all that, there is protection around you. So Pete, what do you think about people who increase their instability, physical instabilities?
It does tend to happen. There's some gravitational disturbances that occur on the planet. So just our general calibration is off. So sometimes that's lightheadedness, it is headaches, so migraines, it is just feeling detoxy, for lack of a better word.
Right.
And so those things tend to impact or affect kind of our mobility to some degree.
And the countermeasure would be grounding, balancing, that kind of thing, or what?
Yes.
Yeah,
absolutely. Right. Trying to ground a lot more and to find your center again.
Right, because there's a new center. Someone also spoke to that in another blog I was reading, that there may be a new center. So you may have to find the ley lines moving or shifting and just go to galactic center, and how would we call it? The center of the earth, I guess. How do you phrase it, Pete, when you're referencing the center of the earth?
I try to think of it as like just the deepest core that you can.
Right, yeah.
Or even the cradle of life, I would refer to it as.
Oh, I like it. Cradle of life. I'm going to use that. I'm going to steal that. Quoting you again. Thanks, Christine.
Thank you, Christine.
So we're going to go to Lynda, our good friend Lynda. Lynda, I'm due for a cup reading, my dear. Where are you, Lynda? I know you're here because I've seen you. Welcome to the show, Lynda. You just have to unmute yourself and turn your volume up. So bottom, lower third with your cursor. If not, I'll just do a card reading for Lynda. If Lynda can bring her cursor to the bottom, you'll see, oh, there you are, Lynda. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Jennifer. I've enjoyed watching it. I don't have a question at the moment.
Oh, come on. That question was answered. So flow, you get the flow card. It's a moon energy. So this is a full moon energy. So what I'm going to ask you to do is research when is the next full moon. It's, I want to say October 3rd-ish, but I want you to research that and understand that it's a picture of you and water and nature, that the water element will be very good for you the next full moon cycle. I'm also being told this is the tender touch card. Are you doing any sessions right now?
Yes, I am.
Good. They ask you to continue the tender touch that you're offering others.
Thank you.
I would invite you to also go back to that idea we had a long time ago. Really get back to that grief, healing with grief concept, helping people move through disappointment.
Yeah, that's been a big one, and for the past 3 weeks.
Oh, good.
I've been getting it ready, and I'm almost ready to go forward with it. It's taken a lot of years, but I'm there.
Good. Well, awesome. I'm glad because we need you. We need you out here, Lynda. I need a break, Lynda. Pete needs rest.
I'm coming.
We need to get subbed out. So the card is rejuvenating rain, because Lynda has lost a child at an early age. This is why I'm speaking to her this way. She's a graduate of the 8th Fire. Rejuvenating rain is the emotions that are coming down from people. But again, there's a rainbow behind her. She's clearing the past, heal the present. So I do get that the wisdom teachings you've learned with Pete and others in our community need to be shared with others to get over grief, tragedy, disappointment, so they can get to 0 point, neutral point, and make things happen a little more easier and lighter. Keep me posted.
I will. I'll be in touch. Thank you.
Yeah, love to you. All right, and next we're going to grab Anona. Oops. Welcome to the show, Anona. You just have to unmute your mic on the lower third. There you go.
Hi there, Jen.
Welcome to the show. Back to the show, girl. Do you have a question for me or Pete?
Well, right now I'm wondering for getting my art out there more and kind of looking for advice on like what's the what's the thing I need to release to kind of expand my art business more?
Okay, I'm gonna let Pete take that, and I'm gonna take this. So I got the Gateway card. So the Gateway is the September equinox. So I really want you to understand, for you, Nona, as an artist, as a healing artist, as someone that is trying to put beauty back in the world, there you have the unicorn coming out of the Gateway, which for us is the September 22nd fall equinox. It's the light, it's the sun, the unicorn's out of the forest. So getting your work out there, to me, would be videos of you making your art in time-lapsed videos, posting them up on Instagram, Pinterest, Facebook, all the social media platforms that you can get access to, because you're younger, you probably have a lot more. And just putting your vibration of blessing the art as it leaves you to go into the social media posts so that it can attract the right buyer, person, or whoever needs to see it. Pete, what do you think?
I think the premise is that there's a place in each of us that we all have like a wounded secret.
Right.
And from that place is where I think that you should be creating from. You don't have to tell anybody what it is, but it should speak for itself in your art. And there's another layer of vulnerability that you've got to go into in order to do that, because the promotion at that point becomes vibrational to a larger degree. And art is all about resonance with people. So if you can tap into that, into the time that we're in, what people are going through, and through vulnerability, capture that, that will be everything I think you're going to need.
Yeah, and I got a Sacred Rebel card, because this is the deck Nona has that I wanted to buy, and I bought because of her. Seeing the True You. Again, it's the first card I picked for the show as the theme for September. It's being vulnerable, being open, getting into the emotions, which is the water, reflecting the emotions of others in your art. As Pete said, every art represents an emotion, a calling. I need to have that. As an art collector myself, that's how art compels me. I don't know, it's too expensive, but I'm gonna buy it. I'm gonna make it happen. I don't know, I need that in my home. Something about that resonates. But you bless it, you energize every stroke, every medium, every movement. You bless it with intention and service. And I just really get that it's gonna work for you. So, and there's the Delight card, which proves my point. So good luck with that, Anona.
Awesome, thanks so much. Have a great day, guys.
And I want to see your art, so show me some. So we've got Miss Betty. Betty, you are on the show. Welcome to Gen Zen. You're on my last questions for today, as we have to sign off. Just unmute yourself, Miss Betty, if you want to chat with us. Lower third, there you go, Betty. Welcome to the show, and make sure your mic, your volume's up.
Okay, hi. Can you hear me?
Yes, you're good.
Okay, great. Well, you knew that I wanted to ask you something, because
I guess. Okay, we have 30 seconds, Betty, for the show, but I'll keep you on via Zoom. Go ahead.
Okay. Everything seems to be really super accelerating in my life. When I know there. Generally, it's been said things are on pause, but not in my life. But that seems to be the case, and I wondered why. That is.
Yes. So, Betty, I got to close the show. So, thanks for watching Pete Bernard, Algonquin Medicine Man on Facebook, the8fire.ca.
This program is brought to you by Ignite TV. Now you're in command. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
Call the Rogers TV viewer response line, email us, or connect with us on social media.
Play 4 games of bingo from the comfort of your own home each Monday at 7 p.m. for your chance to win money from our $2,000 regular bingo or $5,000 super bingo night. Kiwanis TV Bingo, Mondays at 7 p.m. on Rogers TV.
Where did she come from? She's just black and white.